Welcome to Blue Monday from the Blue Room with me, Les. I'm joined this week by Rob, and hopefully Dave will be along soon. It's another happy Monday for the Blues, so we'll be taking a look back at another great win on the road to the Toffees. We're all counting the Leeds games pre-season now, yeah. After we've dipped into that, we'll go on to the contentious subject of those empty seats at Hill Dickinson Stadium in the last couple of home games. As ever, we're brought to you in conjunction with the Invisible Wind Factory. No game for a couple of weeks, but Invisible Wind Factory has got something a little different for the international break. Liverpool's largest ever book festival is going to be there on Sunday, the 7th of September. It's a unique first of its kind event, featuring over 60 different authors selling the books directly, celebrity guests, Q&As, live music, free workshops, street food, artisan stalls, and more. Tickets at £10 at invisiblewindfactory.com. Then it's back to business as usual for the Villa game with pre-match entertainment, pies, pints all round, and you've got Ryan Rooney booked to do a gig after the game, followed by the matchday house band. So a lot going on there. Before we kick off on the Wolves game, a little bit of housekeeping. If you're watching on YouTube, please do give us a like, a subscribe, and a comment. If you're listening on the pod, please do leave us a rating and a review. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, we'll be putting every podcast on the platform this season to make things a little bit easier for you. If you're not on Patreon, you can sign up at patreon.com/theblueroomextra. And for just under £5 a month, you'll get the usual podcast advert-free and some extra ones each week. Oh, and the byline will be a little bit later this week, as the lads will be recording tomorrow morning. Right, Rob, another great win for the Toffees. Feels like a completely different team to the one that lost at Leeds. Obviously, the personnel is the same. Mykolenko was back for this one as well, and in midweek. But it's some turnaround, isn't it, since that first game?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, and Dye. It just looks like a good little front line, and then the bench, not two goalkeepers. I don't know what we're going to do to two goalkeepers get injured, but we've got a decent bench at last. So it's sort of like, get Alcaraz off the bench and stuff. It's amazing. Although you did get a bit worried after it felt like last season when we went 3-2 down, and then they got that chance near the end. But you thought we can't be 4-3 all them 3-2s. If you think this time last year where we were at, somebody was saying it was the middle of October before we had this amount of points. It's amazing. That's the amazing turnaround from this time last year, really. Sort of thing. And then, Moyes has had, 2 transfer windows, and it looks like he's going to get if he gets a couple of players today, everyone scoffed at him, 10 players, but it looks he's up to 8 now, so he might get 10 players. So that's run. I know 2 of them are goalkeepers that we needed, but even so, we still got 2 new keepers in. So it's looking good, So, and Grealish is, it's amazing, isn't he? So a lot of people scoffed at that. I worked with a Chelsea fan. He said that Dewsbury Hall's good. He just didn't get the playing time at Chelsea so much, did he? But he's a really good player. So the front line looks good. We just need a bit more in defence, I think.
Yeah, it was a similar story last season, wasn't it? We started off really slowly in defence, and it felt like, weirdly, for a Sean Dyche team, we were scoring quite a few goals, but we were leaking loads as well. Obviously, we kept a clean sheet against Brighton last week. Little bit of luck involved in that, and some great goalkeeping involved in that. But if you keep a clean sheet, you keep a clean sheet.
That's it.
But it just feels like the defense is a little bit shaky, isn't it? There's still something not quite right. Tarkowski's not fully on his game. I think Michael Keane's been fine. Mykolenko was fine yesterday. But there's just something collectively that wasn't quite there. And I think when Garner went off as well, we started to look a little bit shaky again at the back, which is a concern, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And still I know Jacob Bryan's doing a right back, but it's not exactly a settled. But maybe when Branthwaite comes back, but then we don't know how long he's going to be out for. Not a lot's been said about him, really. Hopefully Branthwaite. And then it's what he does then, with whether he plays Branthwaite and Keane or Branthwaite, Tarkowski, or keeps Jacob O'Brien there, or we sign a right back. Who knows? Do we sign a right back? It'd be the most amazing thing, but it's probably not likely to happen.
Yeah, John Wharton put an article up on the blueroom.co.uk the other day about right backs, and sort of he argued that apart from, I think, Coleman, Mark Hotter was probably the last proper right back we signed, which is crazy, really, isn't it? Obviously, Tony Hibbert came through, and for years we didn't need one because of Hibbert and Coleman. But it is a bit mad, isn't it, that we don't really seem to sign right backs for some reason, and we've needed one for a long time.
on Twitter saying it's like we've instead of retiring the shirt, we've retired the position in tribute to Coleman. Like, I thought it's quite good. Like the first club ever to retire a position in tribute to a great player.
Yeah, get that on the timeline. But yeah, it's it's the defense is a little bit of a concern, but I think that will right itself. Like you say, when Branthwaite comes back, obviously he'll need a little bit of time to go up to speed because he's not had the pre-season. But let's look up the other end because that's where the excitement is, isn't it? It's nice to have players who can keep hold of the ball now. I mean, there were times on Saturday where you could see exactly what Jack Grealish was going to do. He just keeps hold of the ball.
Yeah.
If he can't pick out a pass, he'll turn back on himself and he'll cut back in and he'll look again. But he knows he's got a player tracking him. So he'll just keep his foot on the ball and just draw the foul. And the amount of times he gets a player to kick him and goes down is incredible, isn't it? To just like, it can either like set up an attack or it can take the sting out of the game, can't it? It's just really nice to see players of confidence on the ball. So we've got him and Dewsbury Hall's good on the ball. Garner's good on the ball. There's a lot of players who can help us keep possession now, which last season was a bit of an issue, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. And scoring goals, that's the amazing thing. That's 5 goals in 2 games, like, which is amazing. Oh, if you count the 2 in the League Cup as well, like, so to score that many goals in a week under Dyche, you won't score that in about 3 months. So, it's sort of like, but it's exciting midfield players. That's what everyone used to be all about, isn't it? Like, so like exciting, ball playing midfield, and that's what the crowd love it, don't they? Like, so people can get named on the back, like like Grealish and Dye and Dewsbury Hall cost you a lot of money, too many letters, like, so
yeah. KDH or something on the back of that one.
Yeah. Why do all players sound so posh now? Like, Dewsbury Hall, yes. And
I know it's a thing, isn't it? There's a lot of double barrel names and a lot of posh sounding players. Yeah,
Gavin Buckland put a good one on when DCL got his first goal. It was the first double-barreled name to score for Everton since like 1898. So it's one of them really good ones, like like sort of like. But now there's loads of them, isn't there? There's loads of them. Like that. Diblin's full name was on. He's got a mad full name. He's got about 3 middle names. He sounds really posh. Yeah. It's
what player is not it's all right. One player who's not got a posh sounding name, or it might be a posh sounding name in Portuguese. I don't know. Beto. He's not the best to look at, is he? As a player, he's quite ungainly and stuff, but he does know where the goal is. No matter what you think of him, since Moyes has come in, he's been a goal scorer, and I think he scored more than since Moyes came in. I think he scored more than the only players who've scored more than him are Salah, Haaland, and a couple of others. So his strike rate since Moyes has been in is really good. It's a strange one, isn't it? Because, like I said, when you see him playing on the pitch, he's another one of those players who doesn't ever really look like he's having a good game. But he scores, and that's like, he was right on the spot for his goal for Grealish when he headed the back across. And I'm going to give him that dummy for Ndiaye as well, because I'm pretty sure he stepped over that. But he's doing all right up front again, isn't
he? Yeah. I think he'll interchange him and Barry, like, and for an away game, he's probably a better choice, isn't he? Like, and then I think he'll interchange them two, like, through the season, like, so unless one he suddenly settles on one, like, I don't think they'll play together. Although you don't know, like, can't see them playing together, but we shall see.
No, do you think that can unsettle strikers though? So because obviously players like to have a run of games, and if you're chopping a position,
unless he's just looking at it and then he'll decide on one or the other, like, I don't know. But if we signed Barry for a lot of money, can't see him not playing him, like. But
no, that's it.
So mind you, having said that, in striker terms, when you look at the transfers to date in striker terms, they've signed him for an absolute pittance, like, so.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? 30 million is like not a massive amount to pay, is it? At the minute, when you look at some of the transfers that have been going through this summer, obviously transfer deadline day to day when we're recording, but we've not heard of any transfers income, but hopefully we will get some in before the end of the window. Hopefully a right back, like we said before. Dave's just joined us. Morning, Dave.
Morning, guys. You okay?
Yeah, just talking about the Wolves game there, sort of saying defensively, we look a little bit shaky. They were 2 bad goals to give away, but it's nice to see an Everton team with some free-flowing, attacking football, and going into the international break, sort of wishing it hadn't come along. Whereas in previous seasons, it's like, right, we can reset now in the international break. This time, it's like, oh man, I wish we were playing Villa next week.
Yeah, it's funny the perspective you take of it, isn't it? Because how many times we normally feel that we need the international break to settle down, and people need breaks because Everton already doing the red, and even though it's only 3 games into the season. This one was a lot different because it does feel like we've got a bit of momentum now, doesn't it? It feels like the things are settled. There's a style of play that we're starting to get used to because we've got new players. I feel against the Wolves, even though, I mean, we scored 3 really good goals there. And yeah, you're right about the defence, though, not to put too fine a point on it, but I think Tarkowski's been an issue so far. I think in that game as well. Maybe I'm going over the top with that, given how good Michael Keane's been. I think given that it is Michael Keane, people will find it hard to actually give him any sort of compliment. But I think in his first 3 games, he's been probably one of our most consistently good players. I think the goal that they score, the second goal they score, where it gets fizzed across basically the penalty. Yeah, just outside the penalty, the penalty spot, and it sort of goes between them. And what gets me about that is Tarkowski just sometimes doesn't read football well. He doesn't seem to quite grasp what's going to happen. I think that obviously not the entirety of his career, but I don't know whether I'm stereotyping it or not. But when you get to a certain age as a player, and we all know this, don't we? When you're watching football, when you see him players sort of decline quite quickly, his seems a little bit more rushed than anyone else. I mean, you look at Coleman. Yeah, it was only Mansfield, but I tell you what, Seamus Coleman came on in that Carabao Cup game and looked lightning quick. He looked as fit as I've ever seen him, the lad. And you know, I dare to say it, if we don't go and get a right back before the transfer window closes, I'd consider using him a little bit more. Just given how I think O'Brien looks so frustrated on that right side. I feel as if that he obviously provides a really good alternative because he's been great there. You can't really fault anything he's done on that side, but he's not a right back. And at some point there, how long is he going to take to learn a trade? There is like when you've spent most of your life at a centre back.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast Gav Buckland was on, and he made a really good point and said basically last season O'Brien came in with something to prove. So he was like, he grabbed that position and he grabbed that opportunity and took it. This season, his mindset would have been slightly different because he's thought, well, I'm not going to be right back this season. I want to be a centre back. So like you say, Dave, he's going to be frustrated there now because he's thinking, oh, Christ, is this me forever now? Am I just going to be a right back? Just on Tarkowski, though, Rob, I think we did this last season, didn't we? I think we were all, or a lot of us were quite quick to write him off again last season because he got injured pre-season, didn't really do much pre-season. He was out for most of it. Then when he came in, he looked really rusty. He was rushing into tackles, being the hard man. But then I think he ended the season well again. So it is one of those things, like Dave says, when a player, particularly a centre-back, gets past 30, starts getting the first injuries of the career, you kind of worry that, oh, this is it now, they're on the slide. What do you make of it? Do you think he is, or do you think he's just getting back up to speed again? I hope it's the latter, obviously, but
he has been a bit duck, but then he did have that injury end of last season, didn't he? Like, so I don't know whether he's just getting back to speed or I don't know. But obviously, when Branthwaite's back, then hopefully we've got options there, and he's got. Hopefully, if we do sign a right back, it's a big if. Then there'll be options, and then Moyes can decide what to do. Like, but I think managers, all our managers, like Tarkowski, like all the managers we've had, because they see him as a leader and stuff. Like, but if he's not getting up to pace, and if he's giving away free kicks and losing the ball, like, and giving chances for goal, like, then it's not worth the risk, is it? When we have got options at centre half now, like, so.
Yeah, that's it. You know, we are in a decent position. I'm just thinking there, Dave, like, when we were going through all the pre-season stuff, and we didn't win a game pre-season, all that caper, and the squad was looking really thin. Roger had his list. It suddenly feels like it's it's all right. Like Rob was saying, I think Moyes has signed, 8 players, is it now? Although 2 were goalies. It's looking a lot better, isn't it? Now, we do sometimes go like, we catastrophize when things are bad and we go overboard when things are good. But this does actually feel like it fell into place somehow. And that Leeds game for me was just a game too soon. But since then, it feels like everything's fallen into place. Get another couple in today. I've just seen Paddy's put something else about we're after some fella from Germany called Merlin. So that'd be magic, wouldn't it?
You've been waiting for that, haven't you?
I had to. I couldn't resist it. But it does feel like now there does seem to be a bit of a plan there with the team, how it plays, and we're not relying on Ndai for like a bit of magic every game. Now, are we? Because we've got 2 or 3 players who can do stuff. Like you look at that, I think the 3rd goal, the interplay between the players, well, all the goals really, the interplay between all of them was just fantastic, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And the thing that gets me about it is that when you've got something that looks so good, when we've seen it, I think it's a little bit like a pack of cards, though, Les. I think if one of them go, if one of them get in, because we're not going to expect those 3 lads there that we've brought in. The 2 lads we brought in and Ndai to complete every game this season. Even I think it'd be quite miraculous if you get to 30, maybe. So the thing I turn my attention to there is, I mean, I think it's very easy to fall into the trap, as you just have, by saying everything looks great now and it's rosy and stuff like that. I still think there's still a lot of work to do, I think, and I still think we'll end the transfer window, and I'll still be frustrated about the lack of players that we've got in or haven't got in, because I do look at spots in there. I mean, I'm thinking Mikalenko there. I mean, he's so susceptible to being to making mistakes, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I felt sorry for that lad on many different occasions, because obviously the opposition generally targets him. I think he's the only one there as well we've got at a left back. But let's face it, I mean, a couple of seasons ago he won our player of the season, didn't he?
We have got Asnu, haven't we? I think.
Well, we don't know where he is. Do you know what I mean? He might well be on the ale with Merlin. You know what I mean? We don't know what's going on with him. I just really hope it's not one of those Gabaman sort of signings. But with what we've got there on the surface of it, first 11, then I'm absolutely fine with that. If that's what we're playing all the time, I'm fine with that. But it's not going to be that way. You get Branthwaite back, he's starting to look defensively as solid as we've ever been, I think. Which obviously we haven't made any changes there, which understandably you wouldn't be focused on that position if you've got your 4 centre backs, which we have really, haven't we?
Yeah.
The fullback area is the thing still, and I hate to bang on about that, but I feel underneath the surface of what we got, which looks like a very competent, maybe a European challenging side, to push it a little bit too much, maybe because I've seen 2 really good games so far. It's not far from looking at a side that is mid to lower table. I think we're right in the middle here, and I think we're at a bit of a crossroads with the way in the squad is. I mean, if you were to ask Moyes behind closed doors, you get to the end of this without any other players, would he be happy? I don't think he would.
No.
I look at the striking options as well, and I've said a couple of times, probably to my own sad jokes, that it's like Barry's like Beto 2.0, because I just think they look like the exact same players, the way in which they play. I think Barry's got something else about him in terms of to his feet. Well, maybe they're not the same as such. Maybe that's does them a bit of a disservice. But the way Everton play stays the same, and they're both on the pitch. And I think when you've got a trio that we mentioned, and you've got Alcaraz, who looks a little bit behind the speed to everybody else, you've got those in there. I feel that the player in front of them, whichever striker it is, needs to do them justice about how well they're playing. So it did against Wolves, because he scored Beto, didn't he? He's doing his usual running around stuff, and I just don't want it to be like you see Dewsbury Hall, you see Grealish, you see Ndai doing exactly like you said there. The interplay was fantastic, the movement, just running their team all over the place. You do that, and there's a final ball in, and you haven't got to play it in the correct position to be able to slot it away. And again, I think I'm doing a bit of a disservice there to Beto, but the way in which he plays and the kind of player in which he is, we don't look like a side that will cross the ball as much as we have in the past, if that makes sense. Because you haven't got someone like a Grealish there who will instantly set it out to his right foot and whip it in. And Dye's the same. He doesn't do that. What position? What gets me with that is it's just it's a little bit twixt in between, I think, at that area. And I'm talking more of the latter stages of the season, or maybe when you're getting towards Christmas and then the injuries start to kick in. I mean, Schmidt might well go out on loan. Look, we've been had horrendous injury records with us, and we haven't really seen him properly. Maybe the odd couple of flashes of him. I'd love us. I doubt it'll happen very much so, but I think I'd love us to get another one in there. Just somebody who's different, somebody who's able to work well with those behind them, rather than have that sort of limitations that we have when you need to keep somebody who leads the line.
Yeah,
on the committee, Cop like Kev's come up trumps. He's signing him for Rangers apparently. So that
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 million, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, he'll be going into a basket case if he goes to Rangers. Russell Martin's one of my favourite people. I think he's absolutely hilarious. He walks around like he's in the Calvin Klein advert, doesn't he? With his beard trimmed and all that, and then comes out slagging his players off that he's done nothing wrong. Do you know when the Old Firm finished 0-0? It was the worst Old Firm derby I've ever seen. And he comes off after it. You can see he's got his chin up in the air. Like, that's probably saved my job, the fact I haven't been beaten. But I bet the Leicester fans are looking thinking, I hope he stays forever, because he's absolutely atrocious.
It sounded grim. Just on Beto, we were talking about that before you came on, Dave, and saying like he never looks. He's like another one of those players who never looks like he's had a good game. You don't look at him and think he's had a blinded head. There was a couple last season where he did, but by and large, he's just like you said. He does his thing. He runs around, but he is there to score goals, and he does score goals, and he's got a good record since Moyes came in. I think I was saying to Rob, I think there's only Salah, Haaland, and a couple of others who've scored more since February. So it's an odd one, isn't it? You kind of think, we probably want someone better in there, but if he's scoring, it's like, I don't know, he's doing a job. And one thing we have been doing, although we're not lofting crosses in now, we've been hitting quite a few across the box low. So we've scored 2 or 3 goals like that now.
Well, the thing with Les, I think that you need to look at what identity we want to be, and I think we've seen it by the most part. We've seen that in the first 3 games what we actually want to do. Does that suit Beto? I don't think so. Certainly not as much as it was last season. I mean, which was much more of a conventional Everton, wasn't it? Whipping the ball into a big fella. That's been 99% of what we've done in my lifetime. Yeah. And now I think with Moyes, and we didn't do Moyes, I certainly didn't do Moyes enough credit in terms of how he can set up a side now. Because, how many people banged on about it? Some of our fans who wanted us to deter away from him. When he came in, people, he's a dinosaur. He can't change the way he plays. He's cocked things up. He's been sacked several times at a couple of clubs. He's proven to us quite quickly that he's efficient at this level. He's comfortable to change things up when he needs to do so. And I don't want us to be like expected. I've said this a few times, so do excuse me, our listeners here, but if you're playing Everton, how much do you have to do now to have everything ready to say to your team, this is how Everton are going to play? Now, what we've got and what we've brought in and the way in which they've played, I reckon it's a really difficult conversation for you to go in after training. You've got the projector up and doing all the things you need to do. They'll be spending a few hours there examining what Everton can do, which is fantastic. I love all that. Last season, I said it a few times that it'd take 5 minutes to go and do that because there's nothing else really Everton can do. Immediately, we've seen this has changed here, and I just want somebody who's able to link with those 3, or whichever system, the way in which we play, and this Merlin, if he turns up with his magic wand, if he
get some mileage out of this, aren't we?
Oh no, yeah. If he turns in, the first thing when I heard Merlin, the first thing I thought about was footy stickers, because he used to be Merlin, didn't he?
It was Panini for us old boys, wasn't it, Rob?
Yeah.
Was
it Panini though? I always thought it was Merlin, then Panini came along, but I think it was the opposite way around. Wasn't it?
Panini was first. Yeah.
He's
called Merlin Roll.
Well, I don't know. Someone else can come up with a joke here while I'm rambling on. But yeah, I'd like to think. I think we're a side there as well who are built for a counter-attack inside.
Yeah.
I think we have pace. We have players in the area that are happy to draw players out wide and leave gaps in the middle. That's why I really like Alcaraz to turn on. How good he was in spells last season. He's not started. Did he start the first game? I don't think he started yet, has he?
No.
He's come on off the bench. Scored that great goal, didn't he, in Mansfield, against Mansfield? So that hopefully does him the world of good in terms of his confidence. But in my mind, when I was setting the team up, I'd have had him one of the first names on the team sheet. Now, not so much.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think he can play deeper. I think Dewsbury Hall has been probably the star for me. So I know Grealish is getting all the plaudits, but the work he gets through Dewsbury Hall, he's like a machine. He doesn't stop. He's all over the place. I think he's able to play in a couple of different areas in midfield as well, which is fantastic. This is what Moyes was known for, wasn't it? Getting players who are versatile. So I want us to do that justice with somebody in front of them. Whether Beto can, whether Barry can. Look, he's a kid, isn't he? We've barely seen him play. I think that's the dilemma he's got on the window here. The break. What he's got in mind then is how he sort of kicks on with these lads who we've got to play up front there. And then we get another midfielder in. I think then we are generally set, but it wouldn't take much injuries to sort of put us on the back foot.
Yeah, and of course we've got the AFCON coming up as well, where we'll lose and die and Garner for a few weeks.
That's huge, that isn't it? That's 6 games I think we'd lose them for, don't we?
So yeah. Just before we wrap up on this, again, we didn't win the passing stats, we didn't win the possession stats, but Rob, unlike last season, this does look like a team now that can do a good counter-attack, a nice, fast counter-attack, which is fine. You don't need to win the passing, you don't need to win any of that. You just win the game, basically.
And that suits Grealish's game. If you look at when he was at Aston Villa, that's the way they played. They were a real sort of counter-attacking side, and it suited Grealish's game there. Like so, and I think being a counter-attacking, we let Wolves have a lot of possession. Like you say, like they had loads of possession, then count him on the break, and then when you've got them fast players up front, it really sort of suits us, like sort of thing. Like whether the home crowd will put up with that, I don't know. Like, but if we get in the goals, then but it suits an away fixture, yeah, for definite. Yeah. Like, but I don't know whether the home crowd are going to get on the back if we're letting a team have lots of possession and stuff. Like, but if we are getting the counters, then we shall see. Like, so I'll be set up at home, and if he sets up differently.
Yeah, I think if we have got the quality going forward, though, I think even at home we'll be fine with that because it's exciting to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
One final thing then on this game. Sorry, so last 2 games, Everton have conceded the penalty, contentiously so in both. I would say, I think they should have actually given one away yesterday. I think that was a foul on Bueno. What were we saying? When Ndai took him down in the box, I think that was more of a penalty than the 2 that have been given against us.
Yeah, it was. I think it was quite obvious that it was there. It's cleared as well, and
he's wrapped his foot, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I think we've done well to get away with that one. I don't know. Maybe they're on a new feeling that they need to start balancing things out when you've just given away a ridiculous decision. One that I think many people will be looking back at, that handball at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And I think it was funny, wasn't it? One of the great reds there at the back, I think it was Kanate, got hit. He put his hands up to block the ball from a shot there, and nothing at all was done about it, which was, it's infuriating when you watch what happened with Tarkovsky versus that. I'm getting to the stage now where if it's the wrong decisions, be consistent and all of you give the wrong decisions, rather than see one team get penalised and the other doesn't, and then you start looking at the narrative of who it actually is. Now, this weekend, you've got the Premier League champions, who I think that was blatantly a penalty when he puts his hands up like that towards his face. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, that's a natural thing to do by all of us. If anything gets thrown at you, put your hands up. But these days, that is a penalty, and it was just thrown away quite quickly. Whereas ours, it was straight to VAR after the referee's certain that it is a penalty. So yeah, I thought we did, dare to say it, we did get away with one.
Do you reckon it's because we were sort of, as the result was going, that would have put us 5th? So we were in the top 6 at the time, and the refs thought we can't do this because they're in the top 6, and that's how it goes. Maybe that's what we need.
Yeah, and to Europe referees.
Yeah, defo. Right, we'll move on from that. An amazing win, and we're all buzzing, obviously. You know, going. Are we fifth? I think, aren't we now?
Yeah, fifth. Yeah.
So you know that's great going into the international break. Uncharted territory for a few seasons. That. But we're going to look at another issue at the club, which one close to Roger's heart, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't say seats.
The seat unique thing. We're going into it. So basically, we've all seen there's been blocks of empty seats at the new ground when it's been a sellout. It's like Seat Unique and companies like that have bought these seats up front. So as far as Everton are concerned, it is a sellout. But the optics aren't good. It's not good that those seats are empty when there's people who are desperately wanting to go to the game. I've got my own thoughts on this, which we'll come into in a minute. But Rob, you're keen to pick up on this, I think.
Yeah, you know, just for the Mansfield game, so you had to be a member. So the tickets were only 20 quid, but you had to be a member, so that's 60 quid. Or that half member, 35 quid. But you could go and Seat Unique, and their tickets were 50 quid, which then they obviously weren't selling, went down to 30 quid. So that and for that you get a program. I think you get a drink and an overpriced snack. So like to get an overpriced snack in the Hill Dickinson is you know. So and then when you go on Seat Unique, you can book for more or less every game, and they're all different prices. So for the midweek games, they're only about 100 quid. And if you look at our ticketing, I think the cheapest ticket is it 65 quid now? So like, and they go up to about 80 quid. So to get a ticket for all the ones like Saturday and the Derby, like 300. But the midweek games are only about 100 quid. So you don't have to be a member. So you may as well jump on that, and you're like, if you go, you know, if you just want to go to the odd game. But then they've just signed a deal with Sports Breaks or something, haven't they? So that'll be more tickets given away. So you can't get a ticket, but you can get a hotel and a ticket. But or you can get a Seat Unique and a ticket. And I think Roger's point, what he made is, what are we making from this? Like, because if they're just buying them and we're getting a fee from Seat Unique, then fine. And I know what the point Roger made us, we're all hypocrites because we all want the club to be more business-like. The whole point of going to the new stadium was to make more money. But the other aspect of it is, I mean, a survey a few years back said the average age of a football fan, you've only got to look at home crowds everywhere now, is about 43. It was something like ridiculous. So you're not at school as a teenager saying, you make sure we go to the game on Saturday, and like saving up a bit of pocket money or Saturday job money and go to the game, because you've got to get your £60 membership. And so it's taking it away from people. And while I realise we've got to make money, and I think these 1878 tickets are not the price tag, but it's a bit of a gimmicky thing. But it's a good idea. But they should go to like unwaged, low waged, or you should give them to community groups. It came up as a bit of a jokey question on Mailbag about the Toxteth Tigers, but I used to work at a children's centre in the Dingle, and we once went to Everton Park Sports Centre for like a sports day, and none of the kids had ever been over there. They'd never been to that side of the city, so they'd never been to the game. And the whole point of Toxteth Tigers doing that was doing work in that part of the city, and now we're in the city. You know, maybe you work with community groups like that to encourage them to go. And now, unfortunately, racism's raised its ugly head. I'm getting into other issues here, but that's a good opportunity to do that with the 1878 tickets. Is sell them or give them to, you know, community groups in that part of the city, or, you know, and I know Everton and the community do great work and they may already be doing that. That's a separate issue. But on the ticket, and it's the whole. I think the membership thing and the ballots. But there's people who've entered now. I think we're into the third ballot and only just getting a ticket, or the fourth ballot. So if you've paid 60 quid and it gets to the end of the season and you're only getting to 3 or 4 games, then that's wrong. And it should. If it was about 20 last season, it was 30 quid, wasn't it? Yeah. So and I think that's about. If it's that, then that's fine. But 60 quid's a really. It just makes it all really expensive. And I see the way Seat Unique work. They're working with the Co-op Live and places like that. And you know, wherever you go now in entertainment, whether it's gigs, I know you go a lot of gigs, Les. Everything's getting expensive, and it's just taking it away from people. And even if this 1878 thing, I think it's a good touch, but I think it should be so that people can get in, because it's where, like I was saying about the average age of a football fan, it's where the next generation of football fans come from. Because you start as a casual fan, and then you go to a few more games, and then you're a season ticket holder. But if those casual fans aren't coming in, where's your next generation of fans coming from?
it's football, David. It feels like it's a bit of a closed shop now, doesn't it? It's basically once you've got your season ticket, and we've seen this over at Anfield for years. I mean, there's people on the waiting list for ages. Once you've got your season ticket, you're in for life, really, unless something happens that you can no longer afford, so you've got to give it up, or someone dies, and then someone else can get your season ticket. Feels it's a bit like that across the board now. And the like Rob said, they have got these different pricing sort of tiers, basically, with this 1878 ticket. I think Liverpool got one for £9. That does feel a bit gimmicky to me because they're very few and far between, but they're just saying, well, we sell tickets for this much, and it brings the average price down. What do you make of it all? I mean, it feels like the club have got to do this, like we said. The whole reason for moving to this new ground was to increase the corporate facilities, basically, and really make money off the back of that. Where are you on all this, or do you not care?
No, I absolutely care. Care quite passionately about it because I don't want any of our fans getting ripped off when for years and years and years we've gone to Goodison, which the most amazing stadium in all of our minds, obviously biased to this, that's ever going to exist is Goodison Park. Obviously, we hope this one's going to go on and be the same, but we're not going to be able to say that for quite some time. So I want our fans to still get to still get the value for actually going to the game. Now, you look how Dave Kelly and a lot of people organised the £30 tickets you get to go to an away game. I still think that's fantastic. It's £30 to get to an away game. But I feel as if that's a bit of a rub in the face anyway, given the fact if you're a home fan, if even your season ticket, I think it just about it certainly costs more money for your single ticket if you were to divide the 19 games that you get as your season ticket price. But anyway, the main crux of the problem here, I feel, is if it goes against, it doesn't make me feel comfortable about Everton's product, what we've been like for many, many years, the People's Club and stuff like that. I think obviously it was very much easier to do that 20 odd years ago when Moyes came in and coined that phrase. I remember getting as a kid, it was like £9 a game then. I remember getting a season ticket for £120 as a kid. That's obviously never going to happen this day and age, and it's more than wishful thinking, isn't it? I think you're a bit more off your head if you think that that's ever going to happen. But what you referred to there about Liverpool doing the sort of £9 thing, I think there's only 100 seats, and obviously it's going to take years before you get one of those. I think they do ballots for them as well. Their membership thing, I think you get put it in a ballot when you're a member there, and it'll tell you what game you get. I think we've got a friend who got the Bournemouth game, so then they go lower in the pack because they've already had a game. So I mean, it's quite silly, isn't it? And it is literally a lottery to be able to get your ticket. And look, if you couldn't go to it as well, then bad luck. But with us, I feel like they have to make the most of the opportunity you've got when you go to a new stadium. All the eyes are on it. We've got a lot more of financial gain and corporate things. But I think what you hear with this and what you see with it feels like it just hasn't been well thought of, which I guess it's easy when you're just looking at it thinking, well, this stadium still needs to be paid for. We've got new owners who have banged in whatever amount of money they've done. They want to see value for the buck that they've thrown in. So we need to have an income that is quite a considerable level. Unfortunately, like in all football, the fans are the ones that pay the price. With this, can you differentiate it from a rip-off to, well, they'll get sold anyway? And I think that it's easy to take advantage of it, knowing that you could put that up to any price and you still sell the stadium right now. Will that always be the case? Not sure. Depends on how well Everton do on the pitch, I guess. But when you're doing it with the side corporate, I can't remember, it was quite early on when we announced that we're going to have a stadium with Peel, and they were talking about how they didn't want to use the word hospitality. They didn't want to use, it might have been hospitality, it might be the way around. They didn't want to use the word corporate. And I mean, it's a bit naive to think nobody's going to use the word corporate when, like you say there, Rob, you can get a seat and like a pie or whatever it is for 60 or whatever it is.
I think you get £10, which would get you a donut and water.
There you go. Yeah, I mean,
and a free program.
Just as a side, donuts at the women's games are £2.50.
Bargain. think could you go there and get a load of them and then take them to the game?
Yeah.
Well, I was saying it to Maggie at the weekend, so she was there. So it was like, get a load in and we'll flog them for 350 outside.
Well, just off on a tangent there, because a lot of people were saying that the kids couldn't take in, or you couldn't take in any of your own food and things like that. What I did see, which was really positive, was there was a lady with a young girl. She must have been about 6 or 7, and she had a little backpack with the food and a little sandwich and stuff like that, and she was actually allowed in. So I was like, I was looking, I was stood there and I thought, if she wasn't allowed in, then I might just give this up. Do you know what I mean? Because that is going too far. Are we not used to Everton being or having to be a corporate club? I guess we are not used to it because we've been that far behind when everybody else has to do it. Everybody else does do it, to the point where you'd see another club doing it, you'd be like, oh, what are they like there? What are those Tories like? Look at Chelsea, how much it is to go to a game down there, and look at the way in which they provide hospitality. It's ridiculous. You get a hotel, you can watch the game from the hotel. All that side, I guess. Again, sad to say, but we have to deal with that. And the clubs may be at a position where they can't make everybody win here. But some of it that becomes really obvious that you're getting ripped off is, I think there's a much more comfortable way to do that. What gets me mostly, and it has done for a long time, do you remember when Thomas Cook used to have a deal with most clubs?
Yeah.
And they had packages, so you could go for a weekend, for instance, Real Madrid. You get a ticket to Real Madrid with your flight there and back and whatever silly price. And you used to get a scarf with it. And Everton were part of that as well, but obviously much easier to get an Everton ticket because they didn't obviously sell like hotcakes for that. But this feels to me like it's incorporating that sort of thing. And also, once again, you've got third parties all over the place where you're able to get a ticket. And this is meant to be ironclad why we can't get our season cards, our season ticket cards.
Mm-hmm.
They will stop at anything to prevent you not getting your season ticket card. I think we spoke to Dales about this. Somebody really ill in your family can't get a card, which is quite ridiculous, really.
Yeah.
But this all seems like it comes from like a domino effect. When you're trying to do something that the club should be allowing you to do that helps yourself, certainly financially, maybe at the top of the list, you can't because you'll have to do something else. And this is what I refer to in terms of the third party. You could, I bet you right now, you could go on Ticketmaster or whatever you said, Rob, that we're linked to, where you're able to go on and get a ticket, or Unique, or anybody like that. It reminds me of like when I tried to get a ticket for Oasis, and then you'll see it go on a website almost immediately because a company's just bought a few thousand of them and sell them straight away for extortionate prices. That needs to be cut out. But again, in an obscure way, who pays the price? It's fans, because we're not even allowed to get a card to be able to pass it on to a friend if you want to go to the game. And it's to prevent touting. I think the Premier League's got this initiative out there. If we've got our tickets, our season tickets, it's your property, isn't it? You've bought something, it's your property. If you want to sell it to somebody, regardless of how much you sell it for, that's your prerogative to do so. Now, everyone I know, if somebody needs to go to the game, you give it to a friend, even a face value, or you give them it for the 10 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That is not touting.
Not at
but
all.
Yeah, it's still classed as the same thing. It drives me crazy, all this. I mean, Everton have to be a corporate football club. I think in Champions League side, you have to become that way. You have to. It's sad. It's a sad state of affairs that you do. But are there better ways to do it? And I think Everton should keep... they should leave themselves like an open book as to explore this sort of thing, which doesn't mean fans are getting hit in the bollocks every single game.
My hot take on it, right, is that there should be no corporate seating. Everyone should pay the same price for their seat, especially in a new ground like this where every view is brilliant. At Goodison, I could see, because some were obstructed, some views were worse. Ground like this, every view is brilliant. Everyone just pays the same price for the seat. If you want the hospitality, then you pay extra for that on top of it. But basically, you don't have corporate seating. But the fact that there is corporate seating, and that's a thing, I can see where something like Seat Unique isn't a bad thing, because you don't have to pay $3,000, $10,000 a season to get those seats and that experience if that's what you want. If you want to see the game from there, you can pay a ton and go and do that. So while corporate seating's there, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. But I'd get rid of corporate seating altogether.
But what it means though, Les, I think we're maybe covering it in one blanket here. So maybe there's a little bit of a leeway here to go with what you've said there with the corporate side. You either do it or you don't. I think there's ground in the middle there that I think could be reasonable. For instance, companies who want to do that. I think there'd be companies who want to have, I don't know, a day out, or that's where their Christmas party is, or anything like that. I understand that, and that's what corporate stuff is for. That, in my mind, like I work at the BBC, and the Christmas party is getting, a pint of Coke and whatever, and discussing whatever you want to. Really, it's not exactly a party, but you know what I mean. You get local businesses. Maybe Hill Dickinson themselves, if they weren't sponsoring, I'm pretty sure they do some stuff with the club. That's how the corporate things, evenings, I say parties, stuff like that. I get that sort of thing fits in because they're investing in their employees. That seems to be in a positive direction that you see that sort of thing. Other thing I had in mind randomly the other day about this when I was thinking about it is like a birthday party. Say if you've got a kid that has never been to a Premier League game before or an Everton game before, and you say, I want to take you to a game for your birthday. You're not able to do that because all the tickets are sold out. The only way you could do so is paying a ridiculous amount of money to be able to do so. That doesn't sit well with me, but it's the reason why I think you've got a football club, a Premier League football club. I think, and this is where we can make even more money. Because you are going to sell the tickets regardless. And what you've said there, Les, that does it the nail on the head is whatever prices they want to pay, people will pay it. And I think that is what we need to keep in mind here when you're having a debate about it. That the football club are going to say that. The football club come in, look at that opening game we had against Brighton. There'll be queues out the door. There'll be queues to the other sides of the city trying to get a ticket for that game. And you want that. You want that as a club. You want that as Everton to be a football club that wants more of its fans to go to games. Then I think the idea to come into, well, have we built a big enough stadium, which is a completely different subject. But when you've got that level of demand, businesses are going to put the charge up. I think that's the same in any other walk of life. Your business is going to put more money on something.
But I think
I feel there's a common ground that they just. I don't think they're anywhere near close to finding that.
They do need to find some middle ground on it. I think the issue is that those seats didn't sell for whatever reason, did they? So there was empty seat. There was empty seats at the game. So there's been like people saying, you should knock them down to like 50 quid, or you should just give them away. But then if you paid like £125 and then suddenly you've got a load of kids from a school next year because the club will give the tickets away, you're not going to be happy with that. So it like Dave said, it's a tough balancing act, isn't it?
Is there a reason? Has it been confirmed to the reason as to why they weren't filled?
No, I was just going to say, have you heard anything? But I don't know. I haven't seen anything about it really.
No, the club haven't been very good at communicating it, really, have they? Like, so
what a surprise!
Yeah, I think all it is they didn't sell, but then they said it was sold out. That's the problem. And then that Mansfield game was what 45,000. I mean, we shouldn't complain for a game against Mansfield in the League Cup, but that's the whole thing about it. Like, but they were saying it was sold out, so people wanted to go, to see the stadium more than anything, not necessarily the game. Like in a lot of ways, like. It was 45,000. It wasn't a complete sellout, like so, and there was big gaps. And then you've got that Wembley situation, haven't you, after half time to an extent where you've got like a big, which is it's not good to look at that, like so, like, it's a difficult balancing act, but there's not been a lot coming out. And then when you've got the what do you call the fan group or whatever, like why have there not been. Like when they've not been communicating with them and stuff like when they brought the thing out about the £60 thing, and the fan group said, look, they have not consulted with us at all. Like they said that straight away because the club made out that they had, sort of thing. With and so when you've got those things set up, like you said, Dave Kelly was involved in that last year, wasn't he? Like and stuff like when you've had people like that, you can imagine the systems in place where you should be talking to them, like, or what's the point of them really? When you've got situations like this, that's the whole point of having like that sort of fan liaison group, whatever it's called. Like, you know, that's the whole point of having that. And then what Dave mentions about the other thing is the sort of digital divide. Like if some old fella's only got a Nokia, like he maybe mainly carries cash. He can't get in the ground because he can't get a season ticket on his phone, and he can't. He mainly carries cash. So he hasn't got a car to get him into those bloody stupid things like to pick up a drink, like or whatever. So and he's not allowed to take any snacks in. So there's there's that old digital divide, and that's a problem with a lot of things. But it is something like, and the whole People's Club thing, it takes it a little bit away from that. And I know we have to make money. And I know that was the idea going to the new stadium, but it's just been a bit messy, is all I'd say. And I think they need to look at it for next season, if not before.
I'd bring back the stubs, is what I'd say. Your little paper that you'd have to give in. Bring back the stubs, if not for a bit of nostalgia. What I was going to say was the one thing that we didn't throw into the mix here was the Auto Cup. Scheme, the Auto Cup thing you can do if you've got a season ticket. Now, I've never ever done it before, but I've done it this season. Basically, because I think we might go and win something. No, I'm just joking. Now with that, it was 15 quid to add on, and I didn't know you could do this. I thought you'd either enter the Auto Cup scheme or you didn't. But now you can still pick the games. So I'm presuming I'm right. So the next one we have there, I know we got Wolves away, but hopefully the one after that we play at our stadium. I can choose whether to buy it or I can't. I'm not sure how that works. Les, you might be able to.
I've never done it.
Yeah. So that gets me because it was always, and this is the concept they've got, isn't it? When you can't go to a game, or well, obviously with the season ticket, if you can't go to a home game, you tell the club, they take the ticket, they give you the face value for it, and then sell it on for more money. I think I'm right in saying that. People can get in touch if I'm wrong there. But again, that's another avenue that's completely closed for you for you not being criticised, for you not being hit as a fan. As far as I can see, there's no ways around this. There's no way around, or there's certainly no way that we can see him right now that the club are willing to do. It's just common sense that I think they should have, but I guess they'll just still maintain that it's, you pay your money, you take your choice, but the money you have to pay is a lot of money because somebody else will if you don't.
Yeah, I think just to finish, unfortunately, we do need to become a corporate entity, which is horrible and it stinks, but I suppose that's where we are. And we did all that.
We've never been the 21st century. I think you'll have people saying, and our fans will say it, we've never been a 21st century club.
No.
And this is another step on the ladder that we're not used to, but yet people will say, well, what always gets me, I know we're getting on a bit here, but what always gets me is when the season ticket, whatever it is at Everton, that's a particularly expensive price, which is everything these days, and you go and buy it, and you get your mate next to you saying, I'd never go and pay that. There's no way I'm doing that. For instance, I very rarely, very, very rarely ever get a drink at a stadium, anywhere that I go to. Just probably out of, well, I could probably get it for like 20, like half the price going into a ground. But when you get to here now and you've got the shape of a club that becomes to it, how you go and fix this is just a real. It's. I think a lot of people are looking at heartbreaking the way the club is and how they need to address it. I mean, what would you guys say there's the first thing that they're going to do? Exactly.
I can't even do it any different because it's the way it is now, isn't it? Unfortunately.
But based on the price, sorry, I wanted to add that based on the price you go and pay for anything in a football club, a lot of fans, and I've never understood this, will say, well, at least the money I'm paying goes to the club. And I'm thinking, you can't. How do you not understand?
It
does not work that way. It doesn't work that way at all.
If you're paying £2 over the odds on a pint, it's negligible. Whatever, if that money does go to the club, it's like it doesn't make any tangible difference because the money the levels of money that they're working in, your extra £2 on that pint, you're just getting fleeced. It doesn't make any difference to the club.
The other one as well, it'll go towards the transfers. No, it won't.
The one that always gets me, just to finish, the one that always gets me is that when that new TV deal came in, the clubs could have given everyone at every club a season ticket and not lost any money on the previous deal. It's just obscene amount of money, and we are getting fleeced. We'll leave it there unless anyone's got any final thoughts.
I've banged on enough about it.
Good. Let's leave it there then. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, because it is, you might not care. It might not matter to you, but for a lot of people, it is a contentious subject. Particularly,
I hope you do care. I hope everybody.
Oh God, I do care, definitely, yeah. And I think it is something people should care about. But let us know what you think in the comments anyway. That's been it for this week's Blue Monday. As I said at the start, Byline will be a little bit late this week because they're recording tomorrow morning instead of this evening. But it will be along, so just hang in there. That's been it for this week. Thanks to Rob for joining us. Good work, mate. Thank you. Cheers, Dave. We've got all the usual stuff coming up this week. As I said, Byline weekly, subs weekly, mailbag, and no preview because there's no match. But then we've got all the usual stuff going up anyway. Enjoy the week off, even though none of us want it. That's been Blue Monday. Up to Toffees.